Okay, good morning. I'm going to call to order the KPPA quarterly board meeting of December 6th, and we'll begin with a legal opening statement.
For the record, I want to note that this is a regular meeting of the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority. This meeting is being broadcast via video teleconference pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute Section 61.826 and may be viewed by the public at the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority offices located at 1260 Louisville Road in Frankfort, Kentucky. It is also being broadcast to the public via Facebook. I ask if you are speaking and not appearing by video, please identify yourself before talking. In the event the video or audio broadcast is interrupted, we will attempt to reestablish a connection. If a connection cannot be reestablished within 30 minutes, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to another date. Thank you.
Okay, roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Piercy,
Here.
Dr. Hackbart,
Here.
Ms. Hampton,
Here.
Mr. Lane,
Here.
Mr. O'Mara,
Here.
Ms. Pendergrass,
Here.
Mr. Powell,
Here.
and Mr. Summers. Thank you.
Okay, we have a quorum, no public comment, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'll move on into the approval of minutes from both September 28th and October 17th, and I'll seek a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Next up is the KPPA Audit Committee report and recommendations. There's several things on here that are going to need motions. Kristen, are you going to start us off?
Morning, everyone. As Mr. Piercy stated, there are several items that need approval from the Audit Committee meeting from November 27th. We're going to go over those individually, so I'm going to skip item number 1 right now and move to item number 2. Those are just some other items that we discussed at the Audit Committee meeting. They don't need ratification by the board, but I'm happy to answer questions if anyone had questions about any of those items. All right. If there are no questions, moving back up to number 1, we will start with the annual comprehensive financial report. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Gordon and let him give his presentation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Coffey. So I believe some of you all have heard the presentation, but I'll go over an overview one more time. But I am Adam Gordon. I'm the auditor in charge of the KPPA audit for fiscal year 23. On the call, I do have Linda Hinton, the audit manager, and Jason Johnson, the executive director for our branch. So we audited the ACFR prepared by KPPA and provided management with our audit opinion and government auditing standards, also known as Yellow Book letter for the inclusion of the ACFR. Now, management is still responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, and we were engaged to audit them. So our end of field work for the audit was the audit committee date of November 27th. So no changes, no significant changes have been made as of yet, but management will let me know if anything else has changed. And we plan to provide the opinion letter, the signed final opinion letters today after today's board meeting once it's been approved. But if there's been any changes, there is a possibility we may need to open field work if those changes are significant. Let's see. So on page 326 is those charged with governance letter. So I'll also send this letter to Mr. Piercy after today. And this is just acknowledging just some required communications that we have to provide. Just a quick preview is that there's no unusual items that we had to note in here. On page 33 is our opinion. And we are issuing an unmodified or clean opinion. The financial statements start on page 46. I'm going to defer any financial analysis to management. on that, but a big item that we looked at for this audit was investments, since they are a significant portion of fiduciary net position. On page 319 is our control deficiencies that we noted. So these are not required to be reported in the audit report. These were presented to management, and at their request, they requested that I present these. So I've spoken on these in the other board meetings, but there were two. One on the investment reconciliations. So essentially, we just recommended that the review procedures be updated, and KPPA has done that for fiscal year 24. And then on page 322 is the second finding that we had, control deficiency. And this is regarding healthcare premium wires. And essentially our recommendation was that the supporting documentation was reviewed and more consistent. So overall, the net difference ended up being $30. So that was not significant for our audit. And then with that, that's the presentation. I would like to thank all of KPPA's management and their staff for greatly assisting us with our audit. It looks like Mr. Lamb, do you have a question?
I was just going to thank you, Adam, and your team, specifically Sarah and Trevor, for all of your professionalism and work. And I know your IT group, whom I didn't have the opportunity to communicate with, but I know that they spent a lot of time and effort, and appreciate all of their work. So thank you again and your team for all of your work on this audit.
Thank you. With that concludes my presentation. If you all have any questions, feel free to let us know, but I'll be in contact with management, sending those final signed letters and those charged with governance letters. So, but if you all have any questions, feel free to contact me. So thank you all.
All right, any questions or discussion for Adam? And if not, let's see, Kristen, we can do, let's see here. I think we can do the audit report. And then are we going to discuss the draft management response?
If Connie had anything she wanted to add, yes.
I can discuss them if you wish. They are in the board books, and if there's no questions on them, we can go ahead and with them.
Okay. Let's do, I'm going to seek a motion to accept the fiscal year 23 external audit report as presented, including any recommendations and management response.
Hey, Keith, can we also include the GASB 67 and 74? That's kind of all in that audit.
Yes, I don't see that on my motion sheet anywhere, but yes.
Thank you.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye. I'm not opposed. I'm saying aye.
Okay. And that motion carries. Okay, let's see. So we went all the way down to D, correct? We rolled all those into one?
No, the infrastructure is a separate audit and a request. And Connie, I think we also need separate approval for the GFOA response. Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's item D. That's the one I was talking about just a second ago. So we need to approve that one separately?
Yes, that is a separate audit.
Okay. Connie, you don't have any, you don't have a presentation on that?
We can go over it. Basically, GFOA provided us with 4 comments for our June 30th, 2022 ACFR. And the first one had to do with information specific to the investment professionals who provide services for us. And we concurred with their recommendation, and we added that to the org chart. We put the page numbers on there so that they can find them easily in the investment section. The second comment was on the transmittal letter, that it should address the members along with the board, and the transmittal letter does address the members now with the governing boards. The third and fourth comment are the same comment, and in the statistical section, we had provided the active refund schedules, but we had it in the introduction section, and so we moved it into the statistical section to for the 2023 ACFR to complete those comments for those two items. Are there any questions?
Okay.
If none, we could get it approved. That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yep, I'll seek a motion to ratify the audit committee's approval of the draft management response to the FY 2022 GFOA ACFR letter as presented.
Keith, I will make that motion, and I'll second it now.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And now we're down to E, which is the infrastructure and application security assessment. And I think Dominique is with us.
Yes, good morning. So I had provided in board books the summary that was presented to the audit committee for the security audit that was performed this year. It's pretty high level just due to the sensitivity and the nature of the audit. I've listed kind of the key components that were performed by the auditors, the external penetration assessment and the internal penetration assessment. And then we also included new this year a Microsoft 365 security assessment. We implemented 365 earlier this year, so we thought that was critical to have someone come in and look at the configurations. And then we also, which we do every other year, is the application assessment. So we package up our code for START, the main system, and also have that reviewed as well. So the chart there that Sherry's showing is the findings, total findings. We had a total of 34. Of those findings, we've completed 10. We received this final report late October and are continuing to work through remediations for the findings. Anybody have any questions or comments for me regarding the audit? If not, then kind of the second part for this is to seek approval for an audit for 2024. And this will be just the infrastructure security audit. We won't include the application this year, this upcoming year. So we're asking for approval for $80,000 for that audit.
Okay, any questions or comments for Dominique?
Dominique, I'm assuming that's budgeted?
Yes, that's correct. We include that in the budget.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you, Dominique. And now we're to F, which is completed internal audits. Kristen, I think this is you again.
So page 337 through 358 covers 2 internal audits that have been completed since the last meeting. We reviewed these in detail with the audit committee, but if anyone here has any questions specific to these audits, I'm happy to answer them. The If you go to page Sherry 354, that is the allocation audit. We looked at how expenses are allocated between the plans. We didn't have any findings related to this item. And back on 330, chart 338. This is where, can you scroll down just a little? This is where we looked at, that's perfect, at manager fees. And we had 2 findings related to this, and then another item that we sent in a management letter, which is also included for your review. But if there are no questions specific to this, we have a motion related to these 2 audits and then a separate motion for the other item.
Any questions for Kristen on this one? And if not, I will see, we're on F. I'll seek a motion to ratify the audit committee's acceptance of the completed internal audits as presented and to authorize KPPA staff to implement corrective action.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And now we're up to the external validation for self-assessment.
So on page, it's 359, perfect. So this is a self-assessment. This is something that is supposed to be done every 5 years. It has been a while since KPPA has completed it, but this is a 2-part process. The first part is internal audit performs a self-assessment, and the results of that self-assessment are included for your review. The second part is that we then have an external agency come in and validate these results. So they will come in and they will look at it and they will confirm whether or not they agree with what we found, or if they find something different, they'll issue a report with the additional items that they found. So what we are asking is for the board, the audit committee approved us to go out and obtain that external validation. We will work with a local audit group here to help us get that. And we just need the board to ratify that approval so that we can complete the second part of this audit.
All right, I'll seek a motion to ratify the approval of an external validation for internal audit self-assessment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. And I think that's it. Is it not, Kristen?
It is. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. And we're up to number 7 on the agenda, which is the ad hoc executive director search committee update. And Bill O'Mara is on the agenda.
Thank you. We, as an executive director search committee, have met several times, and I worked with Lori Case and HR along with communications to do multiple things: to identify a list of organizations to post the position opening, to make sure the list has a national reach and is focused on government public employees, then posted an announcement with these organizations. Communications and HR created an informational brochure on KPPA and the executive director position. And then we've opened the applications starting December 1 through January 15th. And based on the level of interest, we'll then proceed with the review of applications. So this whole design was to have a local, regional, and a national reach, to have a strong, diverse pool of applicants for the executive director position. And I think with this approach, we've accomplished that. So there's my update.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the executive director search?
I would encourage everybody to go to a link, and maybe Laurie could provide that link. It's a very good and I think enticing information, and hopefully we do get a lot of apps. I also want to say that the staff that worked with us made it easy.
Okay. Michael, I've got on my sheet, we may need to ratify the actions that the ad hoc committee has taken. would you?
Yes, and Vicky, are you here? Only because you've been working with that committee, I would like.
I am here.
to-
I put it down on the motion sheet because it was starred on the agenda, but I do not believe that there's any approval that needs to be made because all the budgetary, everything was already included.
I didn't think there was, but since you've been working with that committee, I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
thank
All right.
you.
So there's nothing actionable on this section. And Bill, you wrapped it up, and we have no more questions or comments, correct? And we will move on to quarterly financial statements with Mike Lamb.
Good morning. Sherry, I think we start on page 368. And we're going to touch base basically on the KPPA total here. And if you look at the bottom, you'll see that the fiduciary net position at the end of quarter one is 16.8 billion. That's up 12.77% from the fiscal year 23 amount of 14.9 billion. That's 1.9 billion higher. It's driven by the overall increase in investments at fair value, which are 11.67% higher than they were 1 year ago, and specifically in the public equities investment asset class. If we move down to page 369, this is our quarterly statement of changes. And so despite that increase in fiduciary net position for the first quarter of this year, you'll see that we actually lost $164 million in our fiduciary net position from June 30 to 9/30. The good news about that is it's less than what we lost in the first quarter of the prior year's first quarter of $372 million. The retirement plans did receive $679.9 million in contributions this first quarter, and paid out $629.6 million in benefits, refunds, and admin expenses. That's a $50 million cash flow gain. The prior year quarter one was a $46.6 million cash flow gain. I do also want to point out right there that our net investment income was a loss of $214 almost 15 million. And last year it was 419 million in the first quarter loss. If we now go through to page 371, you can look at the contribution reports for the two plans. I did discuss them at each board meeting in detail, but I just wanted to show you the net contributions for the non-hazardous of 0.6 million for the C plan and the hazardous 22.4 million. The cash flow impact is negative 45.7 for non-hazardous and 6 million for the hazardous positive. The contribution report for the K plans is on the next page. And as you can see, there was positive net contributions of 108.4 million, 11.4 million for the hazardous, and 5.7 for the state police. The bottom chart shows the cash flow impact, and all of them are positive as well for the first quarter. The insurance statements begin on 373. The total KPPA fiduciary net position at the end of quarter one is 7.1 billion. That's up 11.6% from quarter one of the prior year of 6.4 billion. Again, this is driven by the increase in investments at fair value, which are 10.96% higher than they were a year ago. And if we move down to the statement of changes, same story here. Despite the increase in that fiduciary net position year over year, the actual quarter to date is a change of minus $102 million. Last year was minus $208 million. So again, doing a little bit better this quarter compared to last year's first quarter. And if we did receive, a few pages, scroll up just a little bit, $75.2 million in contributions in all of the insurance plans. We did pay out $82 million, mostly in healthcare premiums. That was a $6.8 million cash flow loss. Prior year quarter one was a $20.1 million cash flow loss. And the investment loss for this particular quarter is $95 million compared to $187 million in the prior year's first quarter. Then the contribution reports are down below. And if we just touch base that the net contributions for the C non-hazardous is 6.3 million. For the C hazardous, it's minus 7.9 million for this year. The cash flow chart shows negative cash flow for those two plans if you remove the investment activity of minus 10.6 and minus 15.5. And then on to the K plans contribution report. We do have positive net contributions of 32.7, 0 for the hazardous plan and 0.9 for the state police plan. And the cash flow portion of that shows a positive cash flow for the non-HAZ plan and negative for the HAZ and state police. That's the financial statements. The next part of this presentation is the invoices by employer. I do go through these in detail in each of the K and C board meetings. So I just want to touch base on the new little note that we put in here. There's a 3 bullet points on some of these employers, and that indicates that invoices are in litigation. I need to clarify that a little bit. It really indicates that the invoices have been referred to legal. So legal may have them in litigation, or legal may be pursuing other collection activities related to those past 2 invoices. So not all of them are in litigation, and we'll correct that going forward. I also want to point out that the state police is no longer part of the top 10 employers behind, because they have caught up all of their, or most of their past due sick pay invoices. So that's good news for their system. The page below this shows the penalty invoice reports.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
I think Mr. Lane has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
It refers to the previous report. Could you finish this, and then I'll go back to the financial statements, if you might be easier.
Yep. Yeah, we'll finish this penalty invoice report, and then we'll go back to those financials. So this just summarizes all of the penalty invoices that we waived for the quarter. $21,000 was the total there. You can see the reason why we waived them. Some of them didn't even have employees that they needed to report. So there's no need to charge them a penalty on money that's 0. And then we had $37,000 in penalty invoices that were created. Or 37 invoices totaling $45,000, and the bottom part of the charts show that we had 38 invoices paid this quarter, totaling $526,000 in penalties and interest related to late filing of their contribution reports. Mr. Lane.
Yes, this is mostly semantics. In the financial statements, you use the term change in position, which is quite accurate accounting wise. But then in our discussion, we use the term loss. That's really not accurate in the world of investments, I don't think. And maybe we could just say that the change in position was negative or something else, but there was no loss. It was just a change in market value. Is that, unless somebody else feels strongly that that's, I won't say it grates on me, but it just sounds more extreme, and somebody might run with that the retirement system lost.
I would agree with you, and I would probably need to clarify my language in speaking that way going forward. So yes.
Yeah, it's no biggie, but I'd like, different terminology there.
Noted.
Betty?
Yes, a term that is usually used in the accounting description is unrealized change in market value. So I think there's a big difference between unrealized and realized gains and losses. So Pruitt's point is well taken.
Thank you both. I'll make sure that that is communicated more appropriately going forward. I do have a couple more pages, I think related to admin expenses. So what I've proposed doing to both the C and the K boards is this summary admin expense report. And I think the K board decided that they want to see this, but they also want to see the 2 detail pages below that in their presentation. That was the C board, I'm sorry. And then the K board, I think, is comfortable with just this presentation. So I would like to ask the KPPA board, being that they would have seen the admin expenses and had discussion on the admin expenses in their respective boards, if they would want to see just the summary report or the summary report as well as the detailed report, which are the 2 pages below, if Sherry wants to just kind of present that and for visualization. But my presentation over the admin expenses, even if I'm just using the summary report, would be the same. I would still talk about changes in line items at this level, as well as line items that are behind that level if they move appropriately. And so that was a question I wanted to ask this board of how, if we could eliminate a couple pages in the board books, that might be good. Or if you want to see the detail at this level, I'm happy to still continue to provide that.
My thoughts on that would be just as it is now, because we all get a chance to, or at least the C board will get a chance to look at the other pages during their report. No sense doubling up the work.
I agree with Jerry. And then from a structural, maybe that's the wrong term, standpoint, the summary is a true board level analysis and what a board would want to see. I think the details, maybe as committees or the like, and it's always there. So I think this presentation for the KPPA is fine.
Perfect. Let me just go ahead and present my analysis of this summary chart here while we have it up. The first line item is the personnel. I'm probably going to change that to personnel/staff line item, but we've spent $8.4 million so far this quarter. That's about 24% of the total budget, so that's kind of right on line. The next line item is legal contracts. We spent $169,000, which is only 14% of the total annual budget. As you know, some of that fluctuates with timing. There is one line item in there that's a little bit higher than, say, 25%, and that's the legal hearing officer line item. It only has 67% of the original budget left, and that's due to the backlog of cases related to those hearing officers. We do have 3 of them that are working quite a bit through that backlog, but we anticipate there still be, I think for the year we'll still be okay for that line item, but for the first quarter they've been pretty busy. We did increase that budget line item specifically due to the backlogging cases and what we anticipated happening over the year. The auditing line item has a budget of $300,000 with no expenses. The APA that just presented has yet to bill us for their work, so that'll be coming probably in the second quarter for that line item. And the actuarial services, GRS does a lot of stuff for us. The bills for the first quarter haven't come through for them yet either. The total personnel category is $9 million so far. Last year we spent 8.5 in the first quarter. We still have 76% left to spend in the year, so we're kind of right on line with first quarter billing there. The operational total is 1.1 million. Last year it was 957,000 in the first quarter. There's only one miscellaneous line item I wanted to point out in there. We have a miscellaneous one, and so sometimes that brings questions to what's in there. There was 5,300 in furniture moves and 8,700 in personnel cabinet board assessments, which is an annual thing that the personnel cabinet charges us for. Mr. Powell, you have a question.
Yeah, it really doesn't have to do with the report, but I'm concerned about our hearing officers getting overworked and saying, I've had enough. Do you think there's a possibility, or we got any interest of adding additional hearing officers? Or
I don't want to speak for Michael Bohr, but I think in his plan they may be looking to bring some changes to that program. And so if he wants to speak to that, I'll let him at this point.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lamb. And Mr. Powell, you're right. Our current hearing officers are, they work for us on a contract basis. And we are planning to bring our hearing officers, our current plan is to bring them in-house as part of our staff, rather than have them on a contract basis. We're working on that, but that is an entirely new setup for this agency. There are other state agencies that have that setup, primarily the Cabinet for Health and Family Services and the Energy and Environment Cabinet. And I've met with their hearings division to kind of get some of their process and procedures and look into that to hopefully alleviate some of the pressure that's on our contract hearing officers and also alleviate some of the pressure of backlog cases that the agency's facing. Um, Looking through some of the data and some of the analysis that we've seen through this, just so you know, we are from our contract hearing officers, just the hours that they can give us with what their outside other engagements that they're responsible for. We're not getting much. We're probably getting around the one full-time equivalent from all of our contract hearing officers combined, maybe even a little bit less than that. And so that's causing some of our issues. So we're looking to remedy that, but it's a slower process than I would like, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I just don't want to, because most of the hearing officers have been with us for a while, and we really, that's a lot of experience to lose. So I just want to make sure we are taking care of our hearing officers.
Yes. We have, and just to the point about bringing on new hearing officers, we have an open RFP for hearing officers. And we've advertised that in several different areas. And we continue to, if any of our staff know of people who are certified as hearing officers or are interested, we continue to push them towards that RFP to respond to it.
All right, thank you. And my apologies, Mr. Lamb. I know that wasn't quite in your bailhouse, but I just had that concern. So thank you, Mr. Board, Mr. Lamb.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It affects the admin budget, so it's definitely has some part of my wheelhouse. So thank you, Sherry. If you go to the bottom of page 384, I will still include this table here that breaks out the admin costs among the 5 pension plans based on the approved hybrid percentage. So that'll be shown every month. The next page is the JP Morgan Chase fees and interest that we've been earned. I did update both boards that the project that I'm working on trying to analyze this is going well. I hope to have a better presentation specific to Chase in the maybe the February board meetings. But the fees that we're being charged are based on the contractual RFP through the state's master agreement. They average $7,000 to $8,000 a month for us because we have 12 accounts at Chase. In my analysis over the last 18 months, those fees are appropriate. They're being charged per the contract. The contract allowed for 2 ways to pay for those fees. And we were set up initially as an earnings credit. So basically the balance in our accounts was given an interest rate that fluctuated. It was a lower interest rate than the market interest rate. And the earnings from that offset the fees. And if there was excess earnings, we lost that, so to speak. So let's say we had $10,000 in fees and we earned $20,000 in earnings credit, we would lose that $10,000, but we wouldn't have any fees charged to us. When the interest rate went low a couple of years ago, it wasn't covering the fees. And so we started getting a fee invoice, and that's what brought it to our attention of how that was happening. We've since now converted all of the Chase accounts that we have to a hard-earned interest. That is also a market rate, but it's higher than the earnings credit, and it does fluctuate. And that bottom chart shows you the earnings from that these past 3 months. The fees still stay the same, about $7,000 to $8,000 on average a month, and that will accumulate, and we'll get one fee bill at the end of the. It's usually in May. It's an annual cycle for Chase, and so I kind of want to show the history of that and present that, what our plans are going forward and how to manage those accounts a little better in the February board meeting. But that's kind of what I've updated both boards on so far. And I think that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, questions or comments for Mike? And if not, thank you very much. And we are up to the annual comprehensive financial report and the summary annual financial report with Connie.
Good morning again. The annual comprehensive financial report is in tab 6 on page 18, if I'm not mistaken, of the board books. I wanted to recognize several people in the preparation of the ACFR, specifically Ann Case, Liz Smith, Natalie Young, and Christy Razor Feldman. They worked very hard on pulling this all together. And I also want to recognize the investment division, communications, and IT who pulled together reports for us at the end of the year, and benefits for reviewing information within the ACFRA. It is definitely a team effort in presenting and preparing the ACFR, and if you all have any questions, let me know, but we would like to have approval to submit this to the GFOA for certification of award. And also we will need to submit it to LRC, Finance, and the APA. The SAFR, I would like to give an update on that. SAFR updates are in progress. Internal review is ongoing, and there are no significant changes to the layout from last year to this year. The report will be published to the website in late December or early January when approved, and the print copies will be available in January. We did receive the GFOA PAFR Award on November 20th, 2023 for our fiscal year end 2022 SAFR, and would like to recognize communications for that. They pull all that information together for the SAFR. They also work with the same groups, investment and accounting and benefits and everyone, to get that together. If there are no questions, I would ask for approval.
Okay, I'll seek a motion to approve both the comprehensive and the summary annual financial reports.
I'll make that motion and subtitle it with thanks to everyone who digs in deep for this and won the award.
Keith, question. Connie, is the supplemental ready for approval?
No, I don't think so, Connie.
I don't think so, not at this time.
Yeah, I agree with that we missed that on your motion sheet, Keith. My apologies.
Okay.
SAFR's,
that's okay.
Just wanted to give you an update on SAFR.
So we should just approve the AFRA.
Yeah, Pruitt, you want to modify your motion to only include the comprehensive report and not the summary? It's not ready.
Yes, I will modify that the ACFR. Did I get the correct initials there? I'm a CAFR guy. I still go back. Yeah. The ACFR be approved and submitted.
I'll second that. I'm also a CAFR person. I think Betty probably is too.
No, it seems that it is a politically incorrect would be the nice way to say it. It's a serious insult to some folk.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, thanks, Connie. And now we have the investment department update with Steve Willer.
Good morning, everyone. Apologize in advance, having some technical issues if I drop off. I'm sure Pruitt or Dave can cover for me. The Kentucky Retirement Systems, thank you, Sherry, for the appropriate page. Kentucky Retirement Systems Investment Committee held a regularly scheduled meeting on November 9th, and the County Employees Retirement System Investment Committee held a regularly scheduled meeting on November 28th. No recommendations were made that required approval of the investment committees, and no actions were taken that required ratification by either board. For the quarter, the portfolios performed in line with expectations and consistent with benchmarks, given the turbulence we saw in markets. For the quarter, the pension composite was down 125 basis points versus the pension composite benchmark, which was down 88 basis points. The insurance composite was down 130 basis points versus the insurance composite benchmark, which was down 83 basis points. A brief update since the end of the quarter. Markets continued to struggle in October with growth assets down globally as risk found little and limited support. Final performance for October was posted yesterday. The pension composite returned minus 170 basis points for the month versus the benchmark of minus 122 basis points. Portfolio performance ranged from down 124 basis points to down 188 basis points. For the month, the insurance composite returned negative 180 basis points versus the composite benchmark of minus 124 basis points. Performance for the insurance portfolios ranged from minus 165 to minus 187 basis points. November, as we know, has seen a tremendous relief rally across financial assets. Markets have embraced both the presumptive end of Fed tightening and the expectations of a Fed pivot and substantial pricing and substantial rate cuts, along with positive seasonality. November performance is still very preliminary, but both the pension and insurance composites are indicated up about 5%. So a very good month following a struggle in October. The only two other things I really wanted to highlight were as of the, Sherry, next page, please. As of the end of September, there were no compliance violations to report. And as last month, we posted our first proxy voting report to the website as required. So as we know, as of 7/1, all proxies are being voted in accordance with the KRS and CERS proxy voting policies, and the first proxy voting report was posted to the website. Additionally, the big thing we're working on is the asset liability and asset allocation work. We hope to have specially called meetings for both KRS and CERS in January to present the findings and make recommendations as far as updates to the asset allocations. The current market environment is very different from that of 2020 when the last allocation was implemented. And the significant changes in asset class assumptions, especially for those asset classes with a significant yield component, results in our ability to adjust the asset allocation targets, with the real goals of maintaining the expected levels of return, but meaningfully reducing the expected risk and volatility of the portfolios, while also being able to maintain their current levels of liquidity. So we're excited by the opportunity, and we look forward to presenting those to the investment committees in January. That's all I had. If anyone had any specific questions, I know a lot of people have seen this material multiple times, so happy to take any questions.
Okay, anything for Steve? And if not, Dave, you're on the agenda to speak about the salary range for the investment department. You're muted.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you wind the clock back, previously we were able to get through the General Assembly exemption for 6 investment positions, exemption from 18A, which requires that no employee make more than the governor, which is somewhere short of $200,000. And we were in a non-competitive position. So we got the exemptions. We were required to get approval by the board of those positions and their job descriptions. We got that. We were required to set salary ranges for each of the positions. We spent a lot of time looking at industry information from AIMER, the CFA Society, from McLaughlin, from NASRA, and we established those ranges. And you'll see at the top part, the approved salary ranges were I'll just focus on one, for example. But the CIO, the low was 215, the high was 345. And 285 was the median. What happened subsequently is, and we Again, we established the salary for each of those positions, those 6 positions, for the 4 that are filled right now. In fiscal 22, all state employees got an 8% raise. In fiscal 23, all state employees got a 6% raise. And those raises were implemented for all those staffs. The problem is that the ranges weren't adjusted. So I'm asking that the ranges be adjusted for the 8% and 6% so that we don't force our people outside of the ranges because the ranges are dated as it relates to current compensation. So what I'm asking for is approval of the new ranges. Again, by way of example, the CIO low would be 246, the high would be 394, the median would be 326, and on the right you see where that, in this case, Steve's current salary is. I'm very appreciative of legislature and the board's cooperation here. This is a major step to help us retain and recruit quality staff members. We've historically had a lot of turnover in the investment department, and I think we're trying to put that to bed and create some stability. So again, I'm asking for approval of the new salary ranges as they're listed on this schedule.
I'll make the motion to approve the salary ranges as presented in today's meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Go ahead, Lynn.
I just had a question. Are you currently in a search for, I guess, I'm not sure what position Jared was in, but are you currently in a search for a position? And how's it going?
Steve, you want to speak to that?
Sure. I think we actually have a meeting scheduled for next week to kind of a strategic plan for the Office of Investments. Part of that includes, so the position, Jared's position was kind of a hybrid position in that he came over to the investment staff and was maintaining responsibilities that may not remain under the Office of Investments. So I think we're going to recast that position. Strategically, what we would like to do, we've talked about expanding the investment staff in a couple of roles, and that would include some junior investment analyst positions, maybe a senior investment analyst position, and then a portfolio manager position. I don't want to get ahead of the conversation next week, but if I look out, and we've talked about part of the requirements for continuing to bring assets in-house, lowering the management fees that we pay in our cost basis across asset classes, as well as giving us flexibility in managing the assets. I think we need to expand staff. So we have not embarked on filling that position. I think it's first we need to kind of identify what we want those positions, what duties and roles we want those positions to perform before we go out and look to fill those positions.
Okay, well, thank you. Hopefully these ranges will help you in that search.
Absolute benefit, yeah. And I can tell you from the last time that we went out and did a search, the change in the ranges and what we're able to pay prospective employees is, the candidate list is much more robust than it was prior to the compensation changes.
Great.
Well, that answered most of my questions. The other one I have for you, Steve, since I'm not part of the investment committee anymore, are we still getting some interns into the office to assist and aid and learn, and part of grooming them to maybe coming on board with us at some later date?
Yes, that's the plan. Unfortunately, with the current office situation, so some may not be aware, but we ended up terminating the lease on the office space earlier this year. We had not been able to occupy the space since the end of December due to some damage that the building sustained, and the conditions just weren't adequate. So we're in the process. Rebecca and Dave have been doing a lot of hard work trying to find a path for office space. And once we are back in an office and have space, I think we'll restart the intern program. I think it was very beneficial both from a visibility standpoint for the agency and a recruitment tool, And it benefits both sides. I think the individuals that we had as interns benefited from working with the investment staff and seeing what's investments about, seeing what KPPA offers. So I think that's a huge benefit from a recruitment standpoint. I just didn't think it was very feasible to have interns necessarily working with us in Frankfurt and not working alongside the investment staff, and certainly working fully remote would have been a challenge. So I really want them, side by side with the investment staff when we do have that.
Okay, thank you. And I agree with you. And I just saw that the program as it's just really beneficial to both the students and to KPPA and the whole system.
I completely agree, and I think the feedback we got, I think the feedback we got certainly from the last round of interns was great, and that's across the board, not just their experience with the investment staff, but their exposure to KPPA as well. So I think that'll benefit us going forward to restart the program.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, we're back to the motion. We have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you too, the board.
Yes, thank you.
And now we have 4 administrative regulations on the agenda. Carrie and Jessica are listed.
Good morning. So yes, we have all of these regulations that we're going to be presenting today were presented to the Ad hoc Regulations Committee for the board on November 15th, and the committee approved all of these for sending over to this board for full board approval to file. We're going to start with the proposed amendment to 105 KAR 1215, administrative hearing. After this regulation was filed on September 29th, we did determine that a new section for informal settlements was needed. This new section is going to assist with resolving the backlog of hearing requests and formalizing a process that the KPPA is already using to allow claimants who have requested administrative hearing to withdraw their hearing request. So for this one, the Ad hoc Regulations Committee did recommend a minor change to wording in sections 6.1a, and we have completed that change. So we are requesting approval from the full board to file this amendment.
Okay, questions or comments? I will seek a motion to approve 105 KAR 1215.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. And the next one is 105 1390.
Correct. 390, which is employment after retirement. So this is an amendment to an existing regulation, and it contained changes to reflect House Bill 506 from the 2023 session regarding the 1-month break in service for effective retirement dates that beginning on January 1st, 2024. We also included several technical changes and updates to the forms that are incorporated by reference. We just want to request approval for the board to file this amendment to the regulation.
Okay, I'll seek. Okay.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. The next one is 105 KAR 1455.
I think 47. Okay. 455 is next. Okay. 455 is in line of duty hazardous retirement disability benefits. This is a new administrative regulation, and we've got this to establish the procedures for filing an application or a reapplication for in line of duty hazardous disability retirement benefits and or total and permanent in line of duty hazardous disability retirement benefits. And it also includes details on appeal procedures if either of those were to be denied. So we are requesting approval from the board to file this new administrative regulation.
All right, I'll seek a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries. And the final one is 1470.
1470 is also a new administrative regulation. This is for agency communication. And this regulation details how KPPA communicates with the members, retired members, beneficiaries, alternate payees, and any other recipients of a retirement allowance, and also the procedures for how to change communication preferences. So I would like to also request the approval from the board to file this new administrative regulation.
All right, seek a motion.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. I think that does it, doesn't it, Jessica?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. We are up to the proposed KPPA bylaw revision, but Michael and I spoke yesterday, and he's going to make some modifications to that and bring it back to us at a later date. So we do not need to tackle that particular issue on this meeting. And we're up to number 13, which is the KPPA update with Mr. Eager.
Certainly, and I hope you've had a chance to read this. And I'm trying to, in light of trying to minimize your time commitment during a meeting, I'll just ask if anybody has any questions. I'd be happy to answer, or if you want to circle back to me after the meeting if you think it's very specific to inquiry on your part.
Any question or discussions for Mr. Eager? I think we're good, Dave. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And we are up to new business. Anyone have any new business? And if not, we have a closed session to discuss litigation, and I'll seek a motion.
So moved for the purpose. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. A motion having been made in open session to move into closed session for a specific purpose, and such motion having carried by majority vote in open public session, the board shall now enter closed session to consider litigation pursuant to KRS 61A10(1)C because of the necessity of protecting the confidentiality of the system's litigation strategy and preserving any available attorney-client privilege. So with that, we're in closed session. Let me know when